Words of the previous Lubavitcher Rebbe. My father, the father of the previous Lubavitcher Rebbe, who was the fifth Rebbe of Chabad, his name was the Rebbe Rashab, Rebbe Shalom Dober, said in Chassidut, the beginning is found in the end, and the end is found in the beginning. What does that mean? The lowest thing is actually connected to above the highest, and above the highest, that reveals itself in the lowest. This is the state of what's called igulin, a spiritual level, which is called circles. A circle has no end or beginning. But nevertheless, don't think that means chaos. It doesn't mean chaos. It means order and system are essential. The Baal Shem Tov was very, very orderly. I mean, just to give you a simple example, sometimes a simple person can be much closer to the truth and can be much more inspiring and change people's lives than a complicated genius that can bring all sorts of proofs for what he says and etc. Sometimes a simple person can bring you to a level of simplicity and truth and reality with just one word, with one look. A little child brings a little flower to you. This is for you, sir. I like, oh, it just changes your whole life, right? Changes your whole life. The smallest thing can come from the highest places. And conversely, where do these small things that influence you from? They come from the highest places. Right? It comes from the highest places. So the highest is revealed in the low, and the low reveals the essence. But nevertheless, don't think because of that, so that everything goes. That there's no high and there's no low. I can be, right, do all sorts of sins. I can do whatever I want to. That's not so. There has to be order and there has to be a system. The Baal Shem Tov was very, very orderly. The Maggid, his pupil, insisted there had to be order. My great-grandfather, the first Rebbe of Chabad, taught the Hasidim that they have to have an order in life. We see this in his Maimorim, in his discourses, in his letters, in his songs. Hasidim who had set times to come to see the Rebbe, and later in Liazn, that was in the beginning, and then later in Liadei, that's where the first Rebbe was. They could not change their appointed time unless they had express permission from the Rebbe. They couldn't just wake up in the morning and say, I got to go and see the Rebbe, like we do now. Any request for a change had to be justified with a reason. I mean, when the Rebbe was here in a normal way, so you had to make an appointment, you had to wait, and etc. And nevertheless, there still were people that came in without. But nowadays, after Gimel Tammuz, the Rebbe is more accessible than ever. But nevertheless, there still is a system. You have to ask any Gros Kodesh, people go to the Ohel, right? They wrote a letter, whatever your system is, but there still is a system. The Rebbe had a special committee headed by his brother there had to be order. Another committee under the second Rebbe, he directed the younger Hasidim. So there has to be, even though that Chabad stresses that the lowest reaches higher than the high, and the highest levels can be achieved by low simplicity, but don't think that means that there's no order. Order is essential.